Salutations, nerds! We're watching the MCU and all its glory.
Welcome back to Phased Out, subsidiary of Slate Media, the show designed to make Nick hate us. And guys, this might be the one.
But for a different reason than that he'd hate us.
But for different reasons altogether.
Because me and Jake stand this movie. Nick stands this movie.
It's the best. I will admit, it is the best Thor movie. But none of the Thor movies are good.
And I disagree.
I think this one's good, but I don't enjoy it as... Again, I don't hate this movie. This is an enjoyable movie. But I don't enjoy it nearly as much as every other person enjoys it.
It is a pretty popular movie in the MCU.
Yeah.
People were saying this is the best movie in a long time. It's like, it's good. We just had Homecoming. Homecoming was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, if you didn't guess it, we are watching Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
The first in the at this point, Taika Waititi duology of Thor movies.
Yeah, because it's going to stay that way too, apparently.
Is it really? I hadn't heard that.
Chris Hemsworth is calling for King Thor. He wants a more serious.
I kind of like that idea.
So number 5 is supposed to be King Thor. So maybe we'll get a good Thor movie.
I mean, this is good. This is a good Thor movie. Yeah.
This is my most enjoyable rewatch, but it's also my first time watching it since seeing Love and Thunder.
It's funny how Love and Thunder, like, we're not going to lie to you guys. We're going to talk about both movies because they're kind of the same.
Yeah, one is a good way to do this kind of movie, and one is one of the worst movies
made.
Ever seen.
The comparisons are there, and the comparisons are real because, again, they're kind of the same movie. But, like, this one, I think, does the balance of humor, and Thor is not dumb. He's funny. He's wonderfully timed, I think, in this. But it's set against a serious story that at that time we were invested in. So, like, this is like the it's not, but it's like the penultimate episode that bleeds into Infinity War.
I agree. And this is my favorite portrayal of Thor. And Loki, I think. Well, maybe not. The Loki show, he's pretty great. Because you get to see so many versions and sides of him.
You don't like alligator Loki?
No,
I love alligator Loki.
Yeah, the Loki show, I think, is phenomenal. Probably the best show that Marvel has.
It's not a high bar.
It's not a high bar, no, because even Loki has a lot of flaws in it. Wow. But this is my favorite portrayal of Thor. Part of it is because we don't have to deal with Darcy or Jane Foster. You know, I love those characters. They just kill any momentum in these movies whenever they're incorporated into these movies.
Fair.
Oh yeah, those other two.
It's
two different tones, but here it's perfectly balanced.
So my issue is the balance of this movie.
Yeah, perfectly balanced.
There's specifically one scene that I think is handled poorly, even though it is a fan favorite scene, and I think it's one of the best scenes in the movie.
Go on.
If that makes sense. So very end of the movie, Thor's fighting Hela. She's got him pinned down. We get that touching, very sweet, very poignant moment with him and Odin. Where he's
you're not Thor, god of hammers?
Yeah, no, you're the god of. Yeah, what are you the god of? And she's screaming, "What are you the god of again?"
I am the goddess of death.
And he comes in, and it's a very kind of tense moment. And then immediately Led Zeppelin starts playing, and it's this big fight scene.
Oh, okay.
It's like
we
could have carried that into a more grandiose thing, where instead of Led Zeppelin, we're playing a score at that point, and it's a more serious fight. Because the fight itself isn't goofy. There's nothing silly going on in the fight. It's just the song choice really kills the momentum of that very serious, poignant moment where he's finally realized who he is and the power he has within him. I feel like it's undercut by a phenomenal scene. Like, the scene that follows it is phenomenal, but them together is my issue with Taika Waititi doing the Thor movies. Because you get a lot of that in Love and Thunder, but you get big chunks of that throughout this movie as well.
Yeah.
And that was the song that got Taika the job.
Yep. And that's the scene that got him the job, and it's the scene that everybody remembers. And it's, again, phenomenal scene.
I like the shot.
It's a great shot.
Oh, him leaping into the
It's so good.
and the guy's
Him descending into the
Yep.
pile.
It's sort of like
Or even with later when
World War Z sort of style
later when
climbing
they
on each
pull
other.
out and you can feel every punch because there's this random shockwaves, this lightning going through the bad guys. Like, it's great. But it comes after a scene that was leading us into a more emotional
It's
point.
fair. It's fair. I also
And we never go back to that emotional point once Hela's back up and fighting.
yeah.
Then we bring Surtur up and it's big action still. We never go back to that emotional place.
I will say not to really counter that, but to just be the opposite
Mm-hmm.
side of the coin of that. I think part of the reason this movie I feel is balanced pretty well. That what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But other than that, like the way it balances is because the movie is tied into itself
Mm-hmm.
in that it's not some third-party villain that's floating out in space and, oh, yeah, I'm going to come and get Asgard. Or it's not some dude that's off on a planet. I'm going to go around and kill gods. I don't know anything about the Gore story. I'm sure you'll enlighten us when we get there.
Yeah. I plan on rereading the comic before we go into it.
actually expect you to, but it's a thing that is contained within the family itself. And the Thor franchise up to this point has shined when it's been about the turmoil inside their family.
Agreed. Why don't we have more scenes with the family together? Why don't we have...
Because
immediately they meet and get separated and we don't bring them back together into the... And I understand for the plot, and I like the plot of the movie for the most part, and where it goes and everything like that, but it feels so disconnected because we killed the Warriors 3 immediately.
Yeah, we did.
And Heimdall isn't fighting her. We have random Asgardians we've never met, Scourge who we've never met, and her who we've never met. Let somebody that we've met interact with her. Like, we killed the Warriors 3 unceremoniously and instantly.
Wait a second. They're
well-
the Warriors 3, right?
yeah, well,
Lady Sif was not... Sif was not there.
no.
So who are the 3?
Volstagg, Fandral, and what's the other one's name? Hogan?
I
Hogan?
don't think it's Hogan.
I'm looking at it.
Is it?
Hogun.
Oh,
He actually gets a fight, though.
He does. He does.
They
get to stand
did
up a little bit.
Volstagg dirty. I'm okay with Fandral Zachary Levi getting it right away. Then he doesn't have to say anything.
I thought that when I saw it, I was like, oh,
It
I
was
bet Jared was
true,
okay
and
with
I
it.
go,
Yeah.
okay.
And now he's going to be everybody's favorite purple crayon drawing.
Baby?
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole point is supposed to be this is the sizing up Hela, as you know, and it's like,
Right.
yeah, it makes sense. The problem is we barely saw the Warriors 3 in any of these movies.
Do we really need to size up Hela after seeing her break Thor's hammer,
That's
though?
the other thing. We don't need to. Why aren't the Warriors 3 working with Heimdall? And
Well, at that
maybe-
point, Heimdall's not there.
I know he does. They don't need to be there either.
Because-
they do not need to be there when she comes through that portal.
But
They were
Heimdall,
watching the portal, though, because Scourge
Heimdall-
was cleaning up.
I
Because
guess.
Thor, that's why Thor and Loki were...
It's because they didn't want to sign their paychecks and have them be out throughout the whole movie. And we probably had a Shazam movie to film, so Zachary Levi was busy. But yeah, I love her as the character, but for most of the movie, she's interacting with people we don't care about and have no connection to.
Yeah.
So it kind of doesn't. I don't care about her at all throughout the movie.
Are you supposed to care about her, though?
You're supposed to care about the familial ties at least, and I don't care about that because you don't get to see them interact or even like anything.
Is Hela a character in the comics? Mm-hmm. Okay, is she actually the goddess of death? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's really just me being confused from my sort of half knowledge of these actual comics, because when I watched it originally, I was like, oh, she's the goddess of death. She's the one that Thanos is in love
No,
with.
that's the embodiment
Yes.
of death. Yes.
Lady Death.
Lady Death. Not to be confused with Lady Deathstroke.
Oh, comics.
So I guess the things I do love about this movie is the Jack Kirby of it all. This is the most Jack Kirby movie we have in all of the MCU. All of Sakaar is just Jack Kirby's art everywhere, from the guards to the buildings to the random shapes on everything. We even get Kirby dots when they're going through the Devil's Anus, which working Kirby dots into the MCU, mwah, thank you. Which is just the dots he drew around like energy fields and stuff. Became a staple in comics.
It is the most, up until this point, I think, probably colorful
And that's Kirby. He's all neon colors and
I did appreciate that. I love how poppy it is.
Yeah.
I also really like how it takes two characters that have, up until this point in the MCU, kind of gotten the shaft, and gives them room to be good and to really have a good team up, a good, like, not a buddy cop movie, but it's kind of like a buddy movie.
Yeah, it's more like a buddy, like, adventure movie, kind of.
Really.
It's plane, trains, and automobiles in space. They gotta get back home, not for any holiday or anything, but, to save the planet.
And I know you don't generally like Mark Ruffalo, but
This is my favorite version of the
It's a good
character.
version of him. He's
Because
real good in this movie.
He's just whiny, and I like it.
I also love him in Tony Stark's clothes the whole time. They look good on him.
I like all the Hulk interaction too. Up in the room, the part that makes me laugh every time is when Hulk sits up in the background and goes, "Door's sad. Shut up." That always gets me real good.
For me, it's telling him to leave, and we get shocked by the door. Leave! No, leave again! Thor, leave!
Thor, go! It's Thor, go!
Yeah, Thor, go! He's laughing. Thor, go!
Thor, go again!
that was a good one.
Oh, yeah. I love most of the parts of this movie. There's parts, the whole thing as a whole, I'm just not a fan of. It's mostly the Hela stuff, and...
Would you have preferred if she wasn't the villain?
I would prefer it if she had to get to maybe Asgard instead of just being there the whole time. Maybe she had to fight through the 9 realms to get there. Maybe they don't know where Hela is, but they know she's coming for Asgard. Or I would rather just not see her till the end and then have this big moment with her, Thor, and Loki, than to have them meet and then they're separated and we have 2 stories going on the whole movie.
So what if this is completely superfluous?
I love Carl Urban, but I don't like Scourge. I don't like him in the comics. I don't like him in this movie.
I'm sorry,
you
but the
don't
whole
like
thing...
I do like his guns.
More stuff. She's dead. Troy.
Yeah, I think his performance is great. I just don't like the character.
This is completely superfluous conversation, but do you think it would have been better if, say Heimdall was in the Bifrost? Bidenfrost. Where did I get that from?
The Biden Frost.
The Bifrost, and so she breaks his hammer, because I really do think that that's a good moment. Mm-hmm. And then Heimdall to get them out of there because he knows Bifrosts her somewhere.
Yeah.
And then she has to fight her way back.
Yeah. Something.
That's still 2 storylines going on, though.
It is, but maybe they're trying to chase her and they get stuck on Sakaar while trying to chase her. And instead of her just, I don't know, I just don't like her being on...
So it's more like a...
So why is she not just killing everybody in Asgard? Is it because they need Heimdall's sword for the Bifrost? Is that her only reason for not killing everyone?
I think that is it.
Okay.
It's almost like you need the sword to rule, except we've seen...
all it does is turn the key. It's a key.
Well, I also think we've seen one of Odin's staff activate it, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's definitely in the throne room.
Wait.
I'm pretty sure we have.
Do we see Heimdall? I may have missed this when we went to the bathroom or something. I actually had a power outage in the middle of watching this, so I had to go back and may have missed some things. Do we see Heimdall get the sword in this movie at any point?
Give the sword?
Get the sword.
He just has it somehow.
Because doesn't Scourge have it at the beginning when he's letting people in the Bifrost using that sword?
I don't
Volstagg has it. But I feel like there's I watched it the other day. Hela and Scourge go back to the Bifrost and the sword's gone. I think he did go back to retrieve it.
Because I just don't remember that part. I'm just wondering if that was something I missed. Because I was like, shouldn't Scourge have the sword since how he had the sword? But yeah, maybe just something I missed. But
I do like that scene where Thor gets Heimdall's eyes and they have that. There's a lot of good stuff
also, give me
here.
anything with Heimdall in it. I love that.
Yeah, well.
Idris Elba and anything has been fantastic, but I love him as Heimdall.
I just like the story of it. I might agree with you on some of how it's presented, but I like the overall story for Thor.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I enjoy this movie. I just don't go crazy for it like a lot of other people. And that tonal shift right there was just a sign of things to come, kind of.
That's an understatement. That movie.
But there are some
garbage
Taika stuff in here that is very Taika that I adore. Everything with Korg, top notch. Even Korg in the next movie, I think is one of the. And I'll give that movie a little bit of credit because I know that movie's supposed to be Korg's recollection of the events. Like, that movie isn't what actually happened. That's what Korg remembers happening because it's from his perspective. We start with him telling us the tale, and it closes with him ending the tale. So that's his recollection. That's why it's super goofy and out there.
I think that's giving Taika Waititi too much credit.
Yeah, to be fair, that's kind of what the fans have done to rationalize why the movie's terrible.
I don't know why people find that stupid goat joke so funny.
I don't know. That's one of the worst things in cinema history.
And they do it over and over again, if I remember correctly.
I'd rather watch a Serbian film again than watch Love and Thunder.
Whew.
Give me Salo over Love and Thunder any day.
Yeah, I was sitting here this time. It's like, with me not being a Taika fan anymore.
Yeah.
Turned on him in the last
one of his movies.
Different reason.
That's fair.
When he started talking in the little circle prison thing, I was like, this is still funny.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, because I had to pull it up because the whole, like, when Thor's like, how'd you end up here? And he goes, well, I tried to start a revolution, but I didn't print a pamphlet, so hardly anyone turned up except for my mom and her boyfriend, who I hate. Like, that whole thing is just, I was like, that's just so
I also love the running Doug joke. This is Doug? Oh, wait, Doug's dead.
No, Doug's
Yeah, you're the new Doug.
Another day, another Doug.
Yay, new Doug.
Yeah,
See,
Korg's great. Meek, great.
Korg in this movie, I liked more than I did the first time. I genuinely wasn't a fan the first couple of times I watched it. Korg in the next movie, I am super annoyed by. But that might be because by the time that came out, I was just annoyed with Waititi in
I
general.
think I agree with you, but Korg is like the character I'm least annoyed with in that movie.
Really?
That is not saying much, because I hate every character in that movie outside of Gore.
But you kind of hate what they made him in
I
that
hate
movie.
what they did with Gore, but I think Bale's portrayal was still very good. Like, he portrayed the character well. They just didn't do anything with him.
Fair.
Back to this movie.
Yeah.
You know what we didn't mention in the last episode is the Stan Lee cameo.
We didn't. Yeah, we're
I don't
just
remember
yelling
the
out
Stan
the
Lee
window.
It's one of my favorite ones. It's him
Don't
yelling
make
out
me come down there,
Yeah,
you
yelling at him.
punk.
Don't make me come down there. And then he starts talking to the old lady across the
That's right.
windows.
This one's pretty good.
This
though,
one's
too.
also one of my favorites.
My hands aren't as steady as they used to be. Please don't cut my hair. Please. No.
I like Thor with the haircut better than the long hair.
I know it. Well, this movie gives us like a cool looking Thor, and also he gets the helmet with the wings. It's a weird version of it, but he just looks good in
Yeah,
it.
the real helmet with wings is the blue one, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not to talk about Love and Thunder again, but that is one of the things I like the best is the blue suit about that.
Yeah.
The thing about Ragnarok, though, that when it came out, that bugged me was telling everyone Hulk's in it. Not that everyone couldn't have guessed, but do you imagine they don't put it in any of the address? Because you have plenty of familiar stuff for people to go see it. And then the first wave of people that see it, at that moment in the arena, he comes out. Man, that would have been a great surprise.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they're not that cool. And it only works the first weekend. Still, that would have been so much fun.
But it could have worked longer if, like, because we were around the time of Infinity War where people were holding on to spoilers. Like, around this time, people weren't putting spoilers online for these MCU movies because they knew, like, hey, they're selling out weekends. Like, people aren't seeing them the first weekend because they just literally can't. So you would go 3 weeks without spoilers, and I think that would have been a smart move.
Oh, yeah.
So smart. Like, they already messed with the perception of the movie in the trailers by they CG'd his... Oh, they didn't put the CG on his eye to be scarred out. They left him with 2 eyes for every shot, where in the movie he only has 1 eye. In the trailers, when they show him fighting
you're
in the
talking
bridge,
about Thor. I thought you were talking about Hulk. I was
No,
like,
no. They're just
why
messing
did
with the trailer by taking away Thor's damaged eye, so you don't know that happens in the movie. You could have just put anybody in there that's fight. You could put Korg in there. Have him fight who's that rock guy? And then all of a sudden you get into the movie and he's not fighting him, he's fighting Hulk.
I will say that's also one of the funnier moments for me is when Mark Ruffalo jumps out of the pleasure plane.
And just smacks.
And then you literally see his face like, oh.
Yeah.
And his arms are all twisted up.
It's a good movie.
I enjoy it. It's probably the most I've enjoyed one of the movies from this phase, at least.
You like it more than Doctor Strange?
I think so.
Gotcha.
Doctor Strange is really good, don't get me wrong, but I enjoy watching this.
I have a retraction from that episode because I said that he didn't have his gloves on in this movie.
He did.
Was only in the end credit, but he had them on.
Yeah, I was looking
And
for
it
that.
looks so good.
He is
They're
he's
just
one of my
work
favorite
gloves,
characters
right?
in the
Yeah,
MCU.
kind of. They're like just big brown leather gloves.
I thought they were like a yellowish.
Yeah, they're like a yellowish brown, but they're in the comics.
Like a
they're
mustard.
brown. Yeah, very mustardy.
He's one of my favorite characters in the MCU. Watching through Sherlock
I have been
for this
falling
for off Slate
30
has kind of like made me appreciate Cumberbatch more. But then like rewatching this, it's like I really do like Cumberbatch. I really like Doctor Strange's character.
You need to
I also
watch
love
Star
that
Trek
in
Into
both
Darkness.
series, he has like an iconic address. And in this one, they even play into it, the little like light jingle when they show his address.
Oh, you hear the little harpsichord go, I
Yep.
like that. And,
Me too.
and say the line again. I know you're saying it.
I have been falling for 30 minutes.
Then he pulls out his knife. And is like, oh, okay, bye bye.
He does it.
He's so good in this movie where he's like, all right, what are you here for? Come on. You know what's going
he
on.
does
The cuts to the different spots of the sanctum were so.
He does it
could
so
you stop doing
nonchalantly
that?
too. Oh, I keep a running list of major threats to Earth, and your brother Loki is at the top of that list, and you just brought him back here. Yeah, it's about the size of it. Like it honestly is clever.
I don't think we should have got more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Anthony Hopkins is real good performance in this
He
movie.
goes way too hard for an MCU movie.
He really,
in this.
on all three of them, honestly, like he puts in a hell of a performance in all three of them. Even though from what I hear, he did not like being at least in that first one.
But you're not king. I love that delivery.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's making random TikToks and everything.
Yep, he's got to be pushing 90.
I love Anthony Hopkins.
One of the all-time greats.
Yeah,
Really is.
and just like a genuine, like good dude. By all accounts, he's like, yeah, he's just fun to be around. Used to play little practical jokes on sets all the time and stuff. Yeah, just good dude.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett, great. I wish there was more of her in the MCU. Wish
She wouldn't have died.
Yeah, I wish.
Although we don't know that she actually died. Guessing.
Also, they keep. I mean, I get like, Asgard is a people, but I mean, if Asgard is a people, then shouldn't Hela still be just as powerful as Thor still is? Because Asgard is a people. Destroying Asgard doesn't do anything if Asgard is a people. That's how we stop her.
I thought that at the climax. I was like, she draws her power from Asgard, but they just said Asgard is a people.
And also, Anthony Hopkins goes, she draws her power from Asgard, the same as you, boy. So stopping her power should stop his power, or not stopping his power should also not stop her power.
She had a giant Surtur sword, like cut her in half.
That is true.
So, no, but he can. It's pretty funny. And then when Hulk jumps up there, Hulk, you moron!
Monster.
Big monster. Another Hulk line delivery I like is when Thor is all mad. The Thor sad part is when he's like, they're throwing stuff around. Don't kick stuff. that got me. And of course when he throws the ball at the window, that's a great little moment.
Yeah.
Because that's what heroes do. That whole thing.
Valkyrie is good, or a Valkyrie, having a Valkyrie. What is her name?
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie
In the comics, it's just Valkyrie as well.
Tessa Thompson.
So she is not a Valkyrie.
She is a Valkyrie, but
also is Valkyrie.
Because the Valkyries are extinct outside of her, she just takes on the mantra of the Valkyrie instead of the Valkyries. She's just the last Valkyrie, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoy her. I don't know what else I've seen her
They'd
in.
look at the doctors walking
Creed.
around calling himself, I'm Time Lord.
What?
Creed. She's in
Creed.
the Creed movies.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name in the movies, but she's the
love interest.
Yeah.
I've only seen one of the Creed movies.
She's in the first one.
Yeah, she's the first one.
Okay.
She's the music one that's losing her hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in all three.
Okay.
She also in the Lakeith Stanfield movie, the phone operator one.
Oh, sorry to bother you.
Yeah, isn't she
I
in that as
think
well?
she
I believe
is.
she's in that as well.
Yeah, I think I first saw her in was it Dear White People.
Yep, that's probably the first place I saw her too. Then
Actually, not. She was in one of Stranger Calls, the remake from 2006.
I don't think I saw that.
It's not good. Oh yeah, don't forget the Men in Black movie she was in.
Oh, yeah.
That everyone
That
hates.
was before this?
No.
No, that was the year. That was 2 years after. But
That
everyone.
was Hemsworth and her too.
Yep. I thought it was fine. Everyone hates it.
Better than the second one.
That's not a high bar.
You're not wrong. Well, you're not a big Laura Flynn Boyle or Johnny Knoxville fan?
I don't know.
It's the only thing I know her from.
Isn't she in Twin Peaks? I think that's her. Yeah, it's her. That's her big thing, I think.
Again, I've never seen Twin Peaks. I've seen like 2 episodes. Who killed Laura Palmer? I don't know.
But yes, Tessa Thompson is great.
Yeah, phenomenal. Also, Jeff Goldblum.
Of course.
So, and like, you look at Jeff Goldblum's character, and you look at the Collector,
Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro. I don't know. I was gonna say Javier Bardem. Benicio del Toro character. And you're like, yeah, no, those are brothers. Yeah, those weirdos are related to each other.
Are they actually?
Yeah.
They got the lip thing. That's all I know.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. There's like the Runner.
And they're flaming.
Yeah, I think there's 7 of them, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, they're all siblings. Sometimes they fight each other.
I think his funniest moment as the Grandmaster is the after credit scene of, good job. I mean, it kind of thinks to me because you can't really have a revolution without someone to revolt against. So we did it. It's a tie. Every scene he's in, I was laughing.
For me, it's when he's interrupted and she goes to give him the vaporizing stage. Like,
no, why would you?
That's not a capital offense. He interrupted me. We don't
we
phase people for interrupting. What are you doing?
Asgard is also really good.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta get to Ask.
Or when he was like talking about his age, he goes, any other planet, I'd be this many. Here I'm. Anyway.
His little birthday song.
It's my birthday.
It's my birthday. And he performed it too. It's Jeff Goldblum singing. I was laughing so
Which I'm pretty sure that's the image they use in the Guardians 2 credits when he's dancing. It's my birthday hologram.
Did you just say the Grandmaster uses this for orgies?
Don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything.
I know for a long time, the girl with the disintegrating staff, I thought that she was connected to the Guardians.
Topaz.
Somehow, because the armor she's wearing looks like the
Ravager ones.
The Stallone
Yeah.
Ravager armor.
I think Rachel House is in a lot of Taika stuff.
Yeah. She's in Wilder People, right?
Wilder People. She's in Eagle vs. Shark, his first movie. She's in Boy and Next Goal Wins. She's also in Soul and Moana. Or some other bigger things she's in. The voice of both. What was she in Moana? She was Grandma in Moana.
Oh, okay.
And then in Soul, she was one of
the...
Wait, so Jerry...
Mom's friends?
No, in the Afterlife in Soul, Jerry is everyone, and Terry is the one who does the counting. I think Rachel House is Terry, the one who counts.
Okay.
So yeah,
She's great in it.
Oh yeah, and Godzilla X Kong: A New Empire from this year.
I am
Did
a
any of us
Godzilla
actually
fan.
watch
I hate
that?
The MonsterVerse.
But you saw -1.
Not yet.
You got us.
Well, I
It's
threw it
streaming
on.
on something now.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. I threw on a version of it, and it didn't have subtitles.
A little bit imperative.
Yeah. So I waited for the official release, and now I have to watch it.
Yes, that was Topaz is the character name, but I don't think it's ever said.
No.
Maybe once.
Oh, I think it is. Yeah, at one point he calls for her, but it's like a blink and you miss it moment.
Yeah.
Good movie.
This was the first time I'd ever heard of Taika Waititi. I'd
had
never
seen-
heard of him before this movie.
I had seen Shadows at this point. I don't think I had seen anything else, but I know I've seen Shadows at this point.
I just remember I saw the name. I was like, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
And then when they're like, well, have you seen What We Do in the Shadow? Like, I've only heard of it. I didn't know he was in it or and he co-directed
And I
it
only
with
knew
Jimmy
it because
Clement.
I was a huge Flight of the Conchords fan.
Yep.
And so, I followed those guys' careers, and it popped up because of them. Because there's a
Who's the other guy than Jermaine Clement?
Brett McKenzie.
Yep, because he's in The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and then it has Murray from their show in it is the werewolf in not Flight of the Conchords, but in What We Do in the Shadows. So he's the reason I kind of went to it because I was like, I love that performer. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but he's so good. If you haven't watched Flight of the Conchords, highly recommend.
Do they sing the
both
Racist
seasons.
Dragon song?
I think so, and
Yeah.
also Kristen Schall's in it as their
Okay.
number one fan, and it's phenomenal.
Gotcha. So Taika, this is the first time I sat between Dickie and another very loud laughing person that you know, and that was like that was like having tunnel vision because you lose your hearing and you're just like staring into like what's the
abyss?
It's like staring into like a fisheye lens, like everything's right here, but also like this, so you're kind of like I'm overstimulated because every single joke on my left, I'm hearing the left side is Dickie going ah, ha, ha, and the other right side is ha 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 ha. I'm like, I would laugh harder, but I'm getting a headache. It was a wonderful experience, but I just remember thinking,
where Dickie touched your leg.
No, that was Ghostbusters. Do you know that story?
No.
Quick tangent for those. We're watching, Dickie and I were seeing the Ghostbusters re-release in 2019. Yeah, the 35th?
Yeah.
And we were sitting we were at a theater that has recliners, and I had my feet out, and I just, you put your feet on the sides, so I just stuck my feet on. I'm rubbing up against this chair. Wow, that's a little closer, and I thought, I'm fat. I have fat feet. A little while later, I feel something. Apparently, I stuck my leg between the chair and his leg that were on the sides, and he didn't say anything. And I was like, that was your leg? And he goes, yeah. Why didn't you say anything? I don't know. I thought you wanted it there. Go, say something. I don't want to be touching you. You don't want me to touch you?
Classic self-behavior.
But
that reminds me of my Everything Everywhere All at Once experience, where I walk in, and there's two gentlemen, one of which is in my seat. So I show them the ticket, and he bumps over to the other side of his boyfriend. Halfway through the movie, towards the end of the movie, we're at a very emotional climax of that movie. And as the gentleman next to me starts crying, he reaches over for his boyfriend's hand, forgetting that he switched seats and grabs my hand. And then continues to profusely apologize to me as we're all three weeping in the cinema.
And you probably told him. He's probably like, I'm so sorry. It's like, no, I kind of needed that.
I was like, it's fine. We're all in the same spot right now. Yeah, just like this accidental hand touch, and we were just all like, yeah, we're all right there with each other.
So at this point, going back to Ragnarok, at this point, that's like the introduction for me, and I was on board. Like everyone was, and a lot of people still are. So it's like, oh, this guy's pretty funny. It's a bit subversive. It shoves humor into too many crevices of the story and kind of undermines some serious moments. Like it's taking what they've been doing in the MCU at this point and kind of pushing it. But there's something refreshing about it. Like we've said, the colors, and like I just said, the subversion. So it was a nice shot of adrenaline.
Especially coming from the other two Thor movies, which are
Bad.
so bland and grayscale, and putting anything in London and making it
self-serious, half self-serious, half goofy, but not intermixed.
It's just Shakespearean, and to have this very lighthearted, fun. There's no romance stuff to really tie you down.
Yep.
Like I get it. I get why people latched onto this so hard. But I just see it as a pretty good movie.
It made me, because then a couple years later, Jojo Rabbit comes out, and I liked it the first time I saw it. It's like, I like this guy. Yeah, and he won best screenplay for Jojo Rabbit, and it's
I like it. I've only seen it once, but I like it.
With all of his movies, it's the tonal whiplash. Like I like it.
I could see that with that movie though.
That movie is too tonally. Like, I like the contents of that movie. I just don't like the way it was arranged.
I don't like that the moon does not have enough green in it.
Hey, Dickie, you've heard that story.
Yeah.
Good old Dickie. I hope you're listening, Dickie. We
love you, Dickie.
And we miss
but
you.
That was a dumb comment.
But go back to Taika. So it's like I started to check out the back catalog, and because this is gonna be the Taika tangent, because kind of have to. This is his big breakout thing, technically.
It's probably his best movie.
It wasn't
outside
Free
of
Guy?
Shadows.
I don't know. I think Wilder People's better than this. I think Wilder People's his best movie.
I probably need to do a rewatch of Wilder People. I haven't seen it in
think that's
years.
his best movie.
Okay, maybe I'll give that a rewatch. It's been a long time.
He has that mean-spirited edge in all of his movies, but up to this point, and including this, like this one's not as mean-spirited because it's a Marvel movie. Everything before this, because like Boy has it, but it works in Boy because he's playing the deadbeat dad. Boy is a good movie. And then, Hunt for the Wilder People, both characters have it, but they're dynamic between Sam Neill and what is the kid's name?
Bob.
The Deadpool 2 kid. I can't remember his name.
Jacob something, I think.
Yeah, I could look it up in a second, but like that's where it works. It's not the movie's mean-spirited, it's their mean-spirited characters with an edge, and that's where it works. And What We Do in the Shadows, it works perfect because of the format it's in. Yeah. And he co-directed. So there's a lot of Jermaine Clement in that too. But then as things are Taika's in more, and like with after Jojo Rabbit, and just thinking about shit, it's kind of wearing off. I'm kind of getting sick of it a little bit. And then I watched his debut, Eagle vs. Shark, and there's a mean-spiritedness to it that isn't redeemable and isn't fun to watch. It's just kind of annoying.
That's what I haven't watched, because I know a lot of people don't like that movie.
It's not great. It's a first movie, but also I can see where this can be good, but one of the Jermaine Clement's character is like the other main character. He's insufferable, and that's the point of the character.
And Jermaine Clement's really good at that. Because that's what a lot of in the Flight of the Conchords show is. It's him being insufferable around everybody, pretty much.
That one, it's more of like he's insufferable, and this main character woman who's like slowly coming out of her shell should realize that, and because the whole point was she fawns over him from afar, but she's too quiet and meek to say anything. But then like they start becoming friends. She like goes home to his family with him for like a weekend, but then just discovers how like terrible this guy is. And so what should be, she should not be near this loser. It's not that funny, and it's just, there are parts of it, it's like, if you tweak this a little bit, me in a basement, 15 years after it's made or whatever, can say that, but I think if he tweaks it more, it's a good movie. But when I watched it, I was like, the mean-spiritedness was always there. That's when I started noticing it and realized, I think he's just always been this way. Now he has a platform. Mm-hmm. Because, as we all know, the visual effects comments and jokes he made about Love and Thunder, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back for me.
That's what I was going to ask you, is how much of this is colored by the comments he made.
Before that, it was like, I'm starting to get sick of it. And then, like, his performance in Free Guy was especially insufferable. He is the villain.
He's supposed to be.
Yeah, but it was like, this is supposed to be like he's awful funny, but it's not working. I don't even think this is acting. I think this is just him. And I'm starting to, the facade's gone. It's kind of just me realizing, like, I'm starting to not like this person.
I think,
or at least the public persona of this person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because there's a lot of stuff going around during the filming of Love and Thunder that painted a picture of him that I wasn't fond of.
And then you get to the comments, it's like,
yep.
You are making fun of them.
I know it's a little hypocritical of me, because one of the things I love about Madam Web is Dakota Johnson coming out and trash-talking the movie.
But what is she trash-talking?
Okay.
She's trash-talking the process and how she was handled and what she was promised versus what was delivered, which has happened with all of the Sonyverse movies. They all think they're a part of the MCU, even though they're not, because they're actors. They're not fans of this stuff. They're not die-hard comic book fans. They're like, oh, a Marvel? Yeah, I'll do a Marvel, sure.
Yeah. And what was Taika making fun of?
The things he did.
He was making fun of.
He was making fun of it.
And the work that others did.
He was making fun of his employees.
Yeah.
Hard work.
He wasn't even making fun of his own ideas. It's like, then why, if you knew they were dumb, why did you include them in the movie?
Yep. And also it's like, here we have big group of graphic artists and animators and special effects artists who are overworked, underappreciated, underpaid, and stretched thin over all these Marvel properties, and here he is trashing them.
And not only that,
when
but
people
also,
don't like his movie.
Actors. He brought in actors for this movie that
he
knew he wasn't gonna. I can't remember who the actress is. That like it messed up like her like career a little bit for a while, because like she had to do X amount of movies for something for her contract, and she was supposed to be in this movie, and they cut her completely out of it, so like she didn't hit her contractual obligation or something. I can't remember, but they shot like 4 to 5 hours for this movie because he didn't know what he wanted, and he was like, we'll figure it out after the fact. He's like, let's just shoot all of my ideas and we'll construct a movie from there. I know we're jumping ahead to another movie, but you lit the fire and it's blazing.
So we're not talking about Ragnarok.
We're talking about Love and Thunder. Yeah, sorry.
It's mostly we're talking about how Taika is kind of soured in
I mean, it's kind of like you said. You said this was his big break, basically.
Ragnarok,
into the mainstream, yeah.
So,
like What We Do in the Shadows was popular, but people didn't know the name until this.
As I was watching it, I was, because you constantly have that comparison. Because again, they're basically the same movie. I'm like, from what I remember about Love and Thunder, the one time I've watched Love and Thunder, is this is kind of a Marvel movie with a Taika like twist in it.
Yep.
That is a Taika movie that's twisted Marvel, and this does not work as well as this.
It's one of the things that they give them free reign because they prove themselves on one movie and they just go crazy.
I don't think they give them all free reign though.
Not all of them.
Not the good ones.
I think
They did him.
they didn't give him free reign. I think it's they told him push ABC, which
Yeah.
ABC are the parts of Ragnarok that don't work as well, but people thought were amusing in the moment. So it's the
ABC?
worst part, just saying like these things.
Oh.
Yeah, so let's.
Like Thor needs to lose his hammer. Thor needs to...
Well, I was just saying
Yeah.
humor in this area, doing this kind of subversion, having this kind of comment made at this moment, like
Wait a
pushing
second.
the Watiti-isms or whatever you want to call 'em.
Okay, this is going forward. His hammer's broken in this, right?
Yeah.
It remains in the same spot for Love and Thunder, right? Like where it broke because no one can pick it up.
I think that's where they set up their...
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I realized that through this watch through too. I was like, that is where their new colony is.
Mm-hmm.
I never realized that because Anthony Hopkins says this could be Asgard.
Mm-hmm.
What hammer is in Endgame?
It's from Thor 2. Remember? They drop in to get the ether
Yep.
out of Jane, and his mom, as he's talking to his mom, he reaches his hand out and he goes, I am still worthy.
Yep.
And he takes the hammer from then. And
But then Cap brings it
has
back.
to bring it back.
Okay.
Yep, he has it with
Okay.
him when he's time traveling at the end to bring it back.
I
knew where your question was going to be, but I wanted to let you get there.
Well, because it's just too much to
I
remember.
know, it's a lot. Especially when they bring the multiverse in, it's a lot. Because during this movie, I was like, what version of Loki is in this show again? And I was like, wait, it's...
Is this not Loki Prime?
Yeah, I was like, what does he remember and what doesn't? Does he remember this stuff with Thor? No, that was Avengers Loki that's in the show.
Yeah, because this version of Loki, I've renamed Choki because they get strangled in Infinity War.
We did get the fun little snake story in this movie, which has turned into a lot of cute little animations online of Snake Loki.
That is a pretty
standing
funny
Thor.
story.
It is, and it's like every time I've seen it drawn out, I'm like, yeah, that's adorable. I love this.
Like, he's a snake, and he knows I love snakes. And that isn't it. He turned back into a human and stabbed me. Like,
Oh.
that's a subversion joke. That's fine. It's like, oh, the snake bit him. Nope.
Yep.
He turned back and stabbed.
Yep.
I do like the
like-
shots of he opens the door before that and surprise, and he throws it.
Yeah, no.
Ow. Just had to be sure.
I like the throwing thing bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
make sure
and
it's
because
real.
then he catches it at the end because he's actually there
favorite
on the
Loki,
ship.
There's two things I love about Loki in this movie. One, when Hulk is smashing Thor around. Yeah, that's how it feels.
I just really love this game.
And then the last fight, they're on the bridge. Heimdall's got his massive sword. Valkyrie's got her big sword. Scourge has got his machine
Loki's
gun.
just there.
Loki's got his tiny little daggers, like this big.
Oh, then he uses his helmet.
Oh yeah, he has to
You
use his
are
helmet.
savior!
Like, when he first starts, he's like fighting these tiny little daggers. I'm like, oh, poor little guy. Give him a sword. His little
Your
daggers are so silly.
savior has arrived.
He's not full Asgardian. He doesn't deserve a full Asgardian sword.
I do love that play at the beginning.
Yeah,
So,
with
yeah.
Jake Hemsworth. I don't remember what the third Hemsworth.
Luke.
Yeah.
So it's Luke Hemsworth,
And Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, and then Sam Neill is Odin.
Yeah.
Can we get a
that's
movie
pretty
of
fun.
them?
They're in the next one.
I know
And
they're in the-
isn't Melissa McCarthy hella?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, the last thing on my Taika thing was because Next Goal Wins came out last year.
Oh, did it?
Yep, and I needed to kill time, and there's nothing else to watch, so I went to the theater and watched it, and I was sitting there going like,
Did it confirm your suspicions?
no, there were no suspicions. This is more of,
Did
I
it-
think I know what I'm getting in this, and then watching it just like, yes, he plays a character that doesn't do anything for the story. Taika does. That is not important, doesn't do anything. He's like the opening and closing narrator and has one scene in the middle, and it's just him being this kooky, weird, like, minister, and I was like, why is he in this?
Did he also direct it?
Yeah.
Because he's got to insert himself
Yep.
into every movie. It drives
Yep.
me nuts. That's part of the reason why I don't like Korg is because it's him.
Like, it shouldn't bother me as a Kevin Smith fan, but it does.
I don't,
but in Kevin
I don't
Smith's
know
movies,
enough
he has,
about
like,
Kevin
one
Smith to
line
know
of
why that's
dialogue.
relevant, but
That's true. What was that?
I don't know enough about Kevin Smith to know why that's relevant.
Because he's also Silent Bob. In
Oh,
every
yeah,
one of
okay.
these. Yeah.
But that's like
Again, he has like
And
one line of dialogue.
he also wasn't supposed to be that character. The person that was supposed to do it just didn't show up. Brian Johnson. But so he's just like, I'll do it, I guess. And it's stuck.
It's different though. He's likable.
Some people think so. I think so. Some people cannot stand that man.
I like his take on comic book shows, for sure.
Is he the
He likes
one?
everything. That's why.
Is
I like
he
him.
the one?
He's like me.
Is Kevin Smith the one that convinced Chris Hemsworth to lean into a funnier Thor?
Yeah,
Were you going to bring that up? Yeah.
So I forgot about that. Yeah. Apparently, this is Kevin Smith's fault, partially. Chris Hemsworth is a massive Kevin Smith fan. Listens to all of his podcasts. Now that Kevin Smith knows that, he's putting him in his movies, which is kind of fun. But Kevin Smith was talking about, like, what one did he see? Was it the National Lampoon's Vacation, I think it was?
The Vacation
Yeah,
remake.
where Chris Hemsworth plays Leslie Mann's new husband after breaking up with Ed Helms. Or no, it's the sister's husband. And he's this Texan dude who's big and strong, and he's so funny in that movie. The only funny part of that movie. And Kevin Smith's like, they need to lean into his comedy. Like,
And Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Female Ghostbusters
Yeah.
was the year before as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that. And he's like, he has perfect comedic timing. And in the books, Thor is kind of silly a lot of the times. Like, we need to lean into that. And then he heard that. He goes, you're right. Went to Kevin Feige. He was like, hey, I heard Kevin Smith say this thing that we should lean into the comedy for my character. And Feige at that point was just like, whatever you want, Chris.
Well, I mean, because they've done 2 Shakespearean Thors
And they
and
just
it
did
didn't
not do
work.
well, yeah. So yeah, Kevin Smith can partially be to blame for Love and Thunder as well, I guess.
That's a different funny Thor, though.
Yeah.
That's not
Again,
the
that
same.
is, yeah, and his performance is fine. It's what Taika did to the movie that ruined it.
Yeah. Yeah, because not to get too much into that one.
He's
although
real dumb in that
it's
movie.
real dumb. It's real insulting. It's real insulting.
It's Thor's more lighthearted and laid back in Ragnarok, and he's a little goofy, but he's not stupid. It's like, let's lean heavier on it because people like how laid back he is, but then they make it like, oh no, he's just doing dumb things to do dumb things.
And it's crazy. If we just follow the comic, we would get 3 Thors in this movie of all different ages and timelines, and we could do Dumb Thor along with King Thor and Avenger Thor. But we decided not to do the comic faithfully. We decided just to take the best Thor storyline and ruin it.
Are you talking about
Love and Thunder
is actually a comic line name?
Yeah, no. The Gore the God Butcher line is
What is that? Is that what it's called?
the Mighty Thor.
The Mighty Thor. Okay.
Yep. By
that's
Aaron. I can't remember the artist.
But that
on
will be something you'll go in depth through.
Yeah,
in the
I'm going to
future.
reread it because it's one of my favorite comics.
I might buy it and read it just so I have context for what he's talking about.
Highly recommend.
It's called The Mighty Thor?
The Mighty Thor.
So, Nick, how much Hulk comics have you read?
So most Hulk comics when I was a kid were just Hulk on the road.
Bill Bixby
Very
type
Bill
stuff?
Bixby stuff. And so
On the
none.
road again.
Gotcha.
I read like World War Hulk and Planet Hulk. Back
That's
in
the
day.
one I was, because this is what everyone
Yeah.
says is this is Planet Hulk, quote unquote. This is the closest we'll get to
It's
it.
the bare bones of it. Yes.
Yeah, so I was wondering, like, is like any thoughts on that? How that
I
correlates?
was never a huge fan of the comic, so I never like held it in reverence like a lot of people did. My favorite Hulk is probably Old Man Logan Hulk, because he's got the symbiote on him as well, so it's Venom Hulk, and that's dope.
That is pretty dope.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not one for Rage Monster Hulk. I like Smart Hulk.
Yep, I remember you said that before.
Like I'm a big fan of when you meld the two minds. So like later on, we're coming up to my favorite version of the Hulk in Endgame. So yeah, no real. That's fine.
So you like the
We got
time travel.
yeah, we got a statue of Beta Ray Bill, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
God, I was just wondering. I remember everyone bringing up it's Planet. It's gonna be Planet Hulk. It's like, well, whatever that means, sure. And then other people afterwards, I heard talk. It was like, well, it's probably the closest we're ever gonna get.
Yeah. Hulk in an arena.
That's a fun fight.
It is. It is a real fun fight. I also love the I know him. We're friends from work.
And that was, as everyone said over the internet for 7 years, that was a Make-A-Wish kid.
Yep.
Suggested that line when he was visiting set.
Yeah, it's so good too.
And yeah, it's funny.
So good. It's one of my favorite lines in the movie.
And that's right. Like Loki sees it. I have to get out of here. And then like the weirdest, perfectly in character, weirdest scream, like, hey, where are you going? It's like, oh.
This is also kind of like launched Jeff Goldblum back into the public eye. Like he got a Disney show off of this, and back in the Jurassic Park movies, like it was nice.
That's right, he did.
Yeah, we had Goldblum for a while. It was nice.
Well, he's barely in that
movie
second.
that got him back in. No, sorry,
Both of them.
What a bad movie his reappearances in Jurassic Park were.
Oh yeah, Sam Neill's in this movie too. I guess I just never connected.
It's a reunion.
I never connected that dot till just now.
I love Jeff Goldblum.
Same. His Hot Ones is one of my favorite Hot Ones. It's so good.
Did he talk about dinosaurs?
He talks about everything.
Good.
And nothing. A lot of the time. It's just words coming out of his mouth most of the time.
When he talks about, is it apartment? What's the commercial?
Oh, apartments.com?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apartments.com. Who was it that did a really good Jeff? It was what's X-Files? David Duchovny?
Does he do a good Goldblum?
He was on a late night show and like started doing a Jeff Goldblum impression. It might have been Fallon's show, and it was really
I
good.
think it's Ethan Hawke I've seen doing pretty decent.
Was it? Or was it SNL 40, the Celebrity Jeopardy?
Oh, maybe.
Where he plays when he's doing all.
Yeah.
Was it 40? It's a Celebrity Jeopardy. I don't remember which one it is, but it was really good.
I remember correctly, Jeff Goldblum is in my favorite SNL sketch, which is the Harry Carey sketch, where he's talking about, is the moon made of blue cheese?
That's right.
If it is, I dip chicken wings in it.
Is that that's Will Ferrell? It's the moon made of that with blue cheese.
My buddy has like the best of Will Ferrell Volume 1. We would just replay that one like segment so many times.
Because that's right there is the voice, right?
Yeah, and you can see Jeff Goldblum like wanting to break, but he's just sitting there kind of like smugly looking at him and like smirking, like, I don't know, Harry.
I feel like this episode has mostly been Taika and Jeff Goldblum, and that's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay. The way we're talking about it, yeah.
Hemsworth is a good Thor. I'm glad Hiddleston didn't get that job.
Yeah.
I'm also glad Liam Hemsworth didn't get that job. Because wasn't the story, like Chris Hemsworth, it was a very Mad Max. Why are all Australians like this? Where he took his brother Liam to audition, and he was in the waiting room, and they're like, why don't you try? Like, you're on Neighbours, come on in. So they brought him in, and they're like, yeah, you, not your brother, you. Because, I mean, to be fair, I think Chris Hemsworth was the only one that had acting chops. Because, like I said, he was on Neighbours, which is Days of Our Lives of Australia, basically. So, like, no, why are we having this guy try when you're the one that people know?
Yeah. And now Chris Hemsworth is in a Mad Max movie, and he's great. It's his best performance by a country mile. He's
Liam
so
Hemsworth is
good
out
in
there
it.
doing something with his brother,
Something.
I think.
Who's the oldest? Is it Luke?
I think Luke's the oldest.
Is it Luke, Chris, Liam?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And they all look basically the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
One has dark hair.
Oh.
I don't know which one it is.
That's the thing. We can't distinguish, though. We just know one of them does.
He looks like Chris Hemsworth with dark hair. Like you said.
I think Luke and Liam have dark hair. I don't know.
I mean, we have devices that we could look it up with.
That's true.
And we don't need
But
to.
that's not important.
Yeah. Every time I think about the movie too, it's like, yeah, he kind of just stripped everything away from Thor. This is the moment everyone still talks about. This changed Thor for the better at this point, and because he lost his home, he lost his eye, he lost his hammer,
We're in the middle of sad
lost his
story.
dad.
Yeah.
He's already lost his mother in the previous movie. I think I didn't really know her that well, but what I feel bad is they go through all that. They watch all of Asgard sees their home destroyed. Those foundations are gone. That's kind of funny. And then within a couple hours, half of them are dead. That's the thing. We do all this work just for them to run into trouble out in space.
Also, like, I forget how much Thanos' ship dwarfs their ship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I just
thought
forgot
that too.
how much it dwarfs it. Like, it's crazy.
I was so disconnected from the MCU when I saw this in theaters.
You're like,
the ship showed
what
up.
does
I
that
go,
mean?
"What's that?" I had no idea what that was. Like, it's Thanos. Like,
Whereas I was in
who?
the theater like, let's go! More tragedy for Thor.
Yeah, because the next time we see them is the first scene of Infinity War, where it's like, oh my.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing. Like, this whole fun, epic adventure of Ragnarok just kind of, it's not all for naught. It's all for like half naught.
Mm-hmm.
That's like I remember thinking, like, even if they got to Earth and something happened, that'd make me feel even a little bit better, because they literally just got out of there, and right away it's nope, we're getting attacked again.
That leads me into my favorite version of Thor, not my favorite performance, Fat Thor, where he's depressed and sad and playing video games all the time.
Which is something we'll talk about when we get there, but a lot of people don't like.
And I think is handled very well for the most part.
Too many fat jokes.
Yep, that's my issue.
But mostly it's like, that makes perfect sense why that happened.
I feel like those people would not be making those jokes at him because like they are his friends. Like I don't see maybe Tony making one or two, but he's never really been about like personal jabs like that. More so like about people's personalities, not their physical appearance.
And something like when he's sleeping with the glass in, I think he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny, but then when they like the cheese whiz one, is
Or
what
when he
everyone
gets up
brings
to
up.
explain the Infinity Stones and it just turns into him ranting about how sad he is about Jane. It's like, that's great, because it's just him, like, he's starting something, then all of a sudden he gets sad again.
It's just, this is the turning point for the character that everyone praised, and I was like, yeah, I'm on board for this. Next time we see him, he becomes more serious, because, yeah. And I'm like, I like the trajectory. And then you get to the chubby one, and it's like, still like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that is where you lose
It's
me.
like, yeah, it's like we backslid. Like, we were on our way to something great, King Thor, which I think is where we're heading next, finally. But we had to make a pit stop in Korg's brain.
Yep.
Which we should never be in Taika Waititi's brain, Jared. We should never be in there for too long.
No. That's what I was
Never
just
be
gonna
in there,
say.
period.
Yeah.
Oof.
Jake, didn't your dad say that?
He hated this.
Yeah, he's like, that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yep, this is where he jumped off with Marvel.
Ragnarok?
Yep.
I remember you saying that. I was like, oh, 'cause that was the only person I'd heard that didn't like it. Because even I liked it at the time when I was like, I hate these movies. I haven't even seen them all and I hate them, most of them. And then I watched this, I was like, this was fun.
But like my dad at the time was also in his 60s, so.
Oh yeah, it makes sense for him. I was just saying, like, even I was like, wow. But then,
Jared's in his 80s.
It's fair. How are you not dead yet? Especially after that.
see,
semester.
here on this planet,
Lazarus Pit.
I'm only 29.999 years old.
And in
But on
other
other planets,
I'm like, oh my god.
I thought that was a good
Yeah, it was
callback.
good. It was a good one.
Yeah, Ragnarok. It's fun.
It is fun.
It's better than, in my opinion, all but 2 movies we've seen thus far.
Doctor Strange and Iron Man?
Yeah, I think those 2 are better. Everything else, I think, isn't as good. But there's at least one movie coming
I don't think I put a
up.
single Thor movie over a single Captain America or Spider-Man movie.
Ranking
either.
these with him is going to be very difficult.
I just think what I enjoy about these movies is just different than what you guys enjoy about these movies. And
We
what
look
I
at-
want out of these movies is different. than
We
what you
look
guys
at them as movies. You look at them as the fruition of your childhood.
I look at them as one movie.
That's fair.
And they're just chapters in this book.
That's fair. It's very fair.
And just the tail end of this book, it's a little rough.
Yeah, I was gonna say the book's not technically done yet.
Yeah.
Ragnarok.
Also, is this the original Civil War or is it the second one? Did they actually call it Civil War 2? That's the original one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the other one is Iron Man versus Captain Marvel.
I read that and didn't understand a lot of it. I figured probably because I didn't read the first.
Civil War 2. I was like, I'm good.
See, but I like the Captain Marvel.
I love Captain
Character.
Marvel, but I didn't want to read one issue of 30 different storylines just to understand what was going on like I did with the first one.
It's fair. It's fair. It's fair. It's fair.
Any more thoughts on Ragnarok, Jake?
It's colorful.
It's colorful.
I like that.
It is very Jack Kirby.
Strongest Avenger.
Point Break.
Point Break is pretty great.
Maybe being
I also-
stuck on this fence
I
made
also
me a
love
little
Chris
weird.
Hemsworth kind of constantly going, "Sun's getting real low."
Just stop saying that.
I kept waiting for it to be something like, because I didn't remember that bit.
Yeah.
So I kept waiting for it to be like, doesn't work on me. Something like that.
I just imagine people who haven't seen the rest of the MCU going into this. Like, what is he doing? Why is he rubbing his hand?
See, but even this one isn't predicated so much that you see the rest, the ones that came before it, like, you know, like I said about Homecoming,
Yeah.
like that one definitely is. This one is not so much. It can stand by itself.
I like when he catches the hammer during the fight, and it's Hulk kind of moving his head out from past it. Then it just cuts to that, you know, reverses shot, and then Thor just kind of like the big face. That always makes me laugh. It's a good fight. That's a fun fight.
Also love the check-ins with Loki and seeing what he's feeling about the fight. A lot of physical acting from Hiddleston in those scenes. It's also one of the fun movies to watch in the background.
Yeah.
A lot of fun background stuff going on. But yeah, good movie. Not my favorite.
Not my favorite. Probably one of the ones that I like the best, but top 5 for me, for sure.
Maybe top 15.
It's hard to think that you could say top 15, and there are just so many more that are so much worse.
Well, like I said, I like all 3 Captain America movies better. I like all 3. I like 2 of the Iron Man movies better. I like Doctor Strange better. 3 Spider-Man. I like Guardians 3 better.
2 Avengers.
No of the Avengers ones?
I like Infinity War and Endgame better.
We're at 12, right?
12 of 15.
There you go.
Like, and I haven't touched Thor yet. So yeah, it hits my top 15 probably because I'd probably put it maybe Black Panther before. We'll see next week.
When's the last time you went through and watched them sequentially like this?
During the pandemic, but I skipped a few. Like I skipped this one and
Hulk.
Probably Incredible Hulk.
and Hulk and what did we do last? The last movie, Guardians 2.
I thought you said you skipped Black Panther too, because
that's what it was.
you wanted to get to Infinity
I wanted
War.
to get to Infinity War, so I skipped this one and Black Panther 2 and just went Black Panther, and then went straight to Infinity War. And I think I missed Captain Marvel in that one too because I had watched it standalone at the very beginning of the pandemic, so I just didn't watch it again. But yeah, I jumped around a little bit.
It's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but that's always one that I feel gets a bad rap for.
There's bad
What
parts
it
of it,
is.
but overall, it's a pretty decent movie. It gets a bad rap because of things outside of the actual film itself.
Well, yeah, that's most of the people that
These
I
days.
talk to that are like,
Yeah.
this is a bad movie. They don't like it because it's a woman. But we'll get to that when we get to
Specifically,
that.
Brie Larson.
No, just because it's a woman.
Oh. I know Brie Larson specifically. It's a lot of hate for a couple of comments she made that were perfectly nonchalant.
Yeah.
And actually a very valid point and fair to have those opinions. But men are crybabies. So.
Oh, yeah. Cites Star Wars.
We
fandom.
are the worst.
We are the worst.
I would also choose the bear.
We good?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, grab your napkin, Jared.
So that is our take
Out
on
of context, that's
Thor
such a weird thing to
Ragnarok.
say to someone. Sorry.
This has been Phased Out. If you want to continue just trudging along with us, getting more and more phased out, we'll be back next week with what's the movie? Black Panther?
Yes. It should.
Black Panther. That'll be an interesting one.
We're on the road to infinity, guys. Remember when that was a thing?
But until then, check us out on some of our social medias. Jared?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, the funny TikTok, and X.
Formerly known as Twitter.
And you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Havens YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell. Make sure you check us and like us on all those apps. And check out our groovy website.
And before we conclude, I'm going to I forgot it, so I'm going to do it real quick here. Our favorite segment. Jared, did
No.
you watch Dutch?
Nope.
Did you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No.
All right. We'll check back in next week to see if these two people have watched their assignments.
Assignment.
Until then, have a good night.
It's my birthday.
It's my birthday.
It's a Pixar movie. Yeah, they do. Artisan is a type of well where you pump water out of the table.
No, that's bread.
Let's talk about this Thor movie. This is our third Thor movie.
We still got one
And
more to
we
go.
still got one more.
Technically, we got like 2 or 3 more to go.
Ah!
It's almost done, so it's starting to peel, so it really hurts.
Dun 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 dun.
Oh, you liked that image right before that, didn't you?